everybody, it's Tom Kelly with Automation Alley. You guys know me, I'm the CEO and Executive Director. I'm here with Bob Berry, the President of Liberty Robotics. And Bob, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Tom.
So for our audience, maybe what we should do to kick this off is we should just talk about who is Liberty Robotics? What do you guys do? We have over 3,000 manufacturing members of Automation Alley. What do you do that they would go, I got to call Bob on that?
Yeah, so we initially cut our teeth in automotive, and we supply 3D vision sensor technology. We call it volumetric sensing. And we use that technology with our software to guide robots for industrial automation. And we're doing applications, for instance, in the body shop, or I should say in the paint and sealing shop, for sealing underbody, sealing interior systems, guiding robots to seal roof ditch and closure panels and things like that. And we also use our technology in body shop applications such as racking, de-racking. We're used in casting facilities to take large castings out of tools and put them into fixtures or racks or on conveyors. And then we're starting to make some pretty good headway into the general assembly area, where we're picking, for instance, bumpers that are flexible, taking them out of tools, putting them onto jigs to get painted. There's a lot of applications, and we feel in automotive there's still a lot of runway left for those applications using our technology. But then about 3 years ago, I challenged my team to come up with some new vertical markets that would take our current technology and adapt it to those markets. And they identified the warehousing and logistics market, which there's a lot of manual labor there. And as you know, there's labor costs are going up, and it's difficult to find people. And so that was an area that was difficult for us because we didn't know that market, but we've transitioned into it. So now we're starting to make a lot of traction into that area. Those are the two segments.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because a lot of our members, like you're saying, hey, we have this new solution for the warehousing industry. But general manufacturers, they're all in warehousing. They have pallets that get delivered. They got to put them through their workflow. Then they have to take their finished good. They have to put it back on a pallet, and out it goes. So you are in the warehousing and logistics space. Tell me, again, for our audience who tend to be smaller manufacturers, but all doing palletized something or other, talk about that solution a little more for us.
So a lot of that activity is manual labor. And where they're using automation, for instance, they're pre-planned patterns, or maybe they're same SKU cases that are on a pallet, so it's homogeneous. A lot of companies now are looking for applications that are more geared towards smart manufacturing. In fact, there's companies that are looking at, you got to depalletize same SKU, put it onto a pallet, and so they want to pack. And now when you have mixed SKU packing, for instance, now it becomes way more complex. So traditional warehousing, they were using robots on a limited basis, but it was always going to the same place. It was always packing the same pattern. It was, they already knew what type of boxes, but now when you throw a mix,
code the robot to do exactly that.
Robots are great at going where you tell them to go and going to the same, and they're repeatable. But as soon as you start to throw more complexities into it, now you start to require software like what we've developed, and the hardware, the vision technology, in order to make that work, enable it.
So one of the videos I saw that you guys did for Christmas that was really cool, you had a bunch of Christmas boxes, and they were all different sizes and all different shapes, and it was sort of packing them all together on the fly. So talk to us about that video, just for that, because I thought when people from Automation Alley see this video, they're going to go to your website. That's one of the videos they're going to look at. Tell us what they're seeing and what that's demonstrating.
Yeah, so that is what we call mixed case palletizing or packing. Now, in that case, it was putting those boxes or those packages onto an open pallet, which it may seem like on the surface it's a pretty simple task. It's not, because the packages are all different sizes. They're different shapes in some cases, weights, all those things that come into play. And then you have to figure out what the scene looks like. So we typically would have a camera over the package on a conveyor. In that case, we would have a sensor that's overlooking the pallet, and we'd image the scene. We would place the first package or first case, and then we'd look at it and determine now, based on this next size, what's the optimum placement of the next, and then you continue. Not only are we looking for how they get placed and load efficiencies that go on the pallet, but we're also looking at stability of the pallet. And as you start to stack these packages up, if they start to tilt, we can detect that, and we can change automatically using our AI function how things go on onto that pallet. Now, let's take it a step further. You have open pallets, which is what you saw in that video, but now let's add more complexity. Let's say you have sides to that pallet. Let's say you have a container, and you know, the companies like you know, UPSs and the FedExes of the world, DHLs, they have containers called ULDs. ULDs get packed with, and it's primarily done manually today. They pack those containers, and then those go onto a, you know, in the fuselage of an airplane.
Yeah, I've seen
to get shipped.
Funny shapes because they slide down.
Yeah, so now you have different shapes, different sizes, and you have to be able to image that scene, and that's what we do with our technology. We actually scan across that scene, we look at it, and then we figure out based on the size of the box. And
so for our audience, is it like, everybody knows the game Tetris, where the block is coming down and you have to turn it.
That is exactly what we're doing.
You know, it's got 3 sides, and you're like, hey, I'm constrained by multiple areas. And so that's what your AI does, right? It's not like I program it and go away. It's your AI is constantly the co-pilot of this robot and steering it and helping it
taking in thousands of different factors, and it's coming up with the best solution. Now, another key thing that we did is we can have a customer that comes to us and says, I have this type of variety of packages and boxes, and I have this type of environment. Can you guys, ahead of time, before we build any tooling, can you guys simulate what my packing efficiency is going to look like? We have that capability with a software that we've developed that's part of our solution, where we can take, and it could be, maybe they only have 5 or 10 different types of boxes, or maybe they have 5,000 different types of boxes, but we can take that data set and we can put it through, and then we can give that to our customers, and they can see not only how well we pack, but they can also, we keep a manifest of every single box and where it is, and on the pallet, in what position.
Wow. So talk to me a little bit about the AI and the algorithm that you use, because before we came on camera, we were having a good conversation, and I was learning a lot, because everybody hears about, oh, ChatGPT and Gemini and all these AI is going to take over the world, and they say, well, you're an AI, so how are you similar or dissimilar, or how are you focused on manufacturing? Like, help us understand the noise, like the separation of the noise from the fact of what you guys do and how well you do it.
Yeah, Tom, that's a great question. So we use AI in our software solution, but we do not use off-the-shelf source code like TensorFlow and YOLO, and there's others that are out there. Those are software source code that a lot of companies are using for their applications. We've developed our own, and it's what we call pick on first sight, for instance, where our solution does not require the vast amounts of data that have to go in for the system to learn. We don't have to teach and run all these packages, which takes time. If you have, like we have a large consumer goods company, and they have 10,000 different SKUs in one factory, you're not going to be able to train all those different boxes that go through there. So we've developed our technology, so it's our own, I'll call it, it's our own AI with our own proprietary algorithms. The mathematics is very similar to what the others are using, but we're doing it in a way that's a little bit different.
So let me understand this. So you go into this large consumer goods company, they have 10,000 different SKUs. The robot and the AI algorithm and the vision camera that you have, you're able to go in and, is it safe to say, relatively quickly, be able to distinguish from all those SKUs and to be able to act on those and do something of value that they want to get done?
Right away.
Right away.
So that's our pick on first side.
What does right away mean? Help me understand.
That means you change a box size that's already been, let's say you have a system that's been running, you change a box size, the system will automatically work. It'll
So they don't
automatically
have to
pick it
call
up.
you up and say,
Nope.
hey, I need a truck.
There's no more
roll,
training,
come
there's
out.
no more.
Wow.
If the printing on the box
Yeah.
changes, you don't have to change anything. If the color of the box changes, you don't have to do anything. All these different factors. If the pattern changes, whatever's coming in, you don't have to train that.
Wow, that's fantastic. So then, talk to me a little bit about. So we've talked about how your systems are very easy to use. You understand what's happening with artificial intelligence related to robotics and cameras. By the way, the hottest field going, I think, in manufacturing today is not AI by itself, not robotics by itself, not cameras and vision systems, but them all coming together to do really, really transformative work. Before, we always nibbled around the edges of efficiency, and all of a sudden you see this path where it's like, wow, efficiency can go through the roof for my organization because I can do things that were never capable before. And I was always reluctant to bring a robot in because I didn't have the capability internally to manage that robot. And now with your system, you're like, look, you don't need to call me back for any of this stuff. We can handle it. So do you work with all robot manufacturers?
We do. We work with all of them. We work with industrial robots. We work with the collaborative robots as well.
Yeah.
For our applications.
And because your layer is separate from their actual programming layer, so you're just feeding.
Yeah. So we do have an external industrial PC. It's running Windows IoT. And we still have to interface. We can communicate in a couple different methods. We can communicate directly to the robot. So we do have to understand, how that robot works in terms of communication. We can also communicate to an external device, an external PLC. We work with all those as well. So that's how our solution works. But if you get back to your original statement where, companies are looking to implement the technology, a lot of the warehousing, especially those type of companies, they don't have maybe the knowledge or the experience. Some of them don't even have robots, industrial robots there at all. And some of them may not even have any type of automation, because a lot of it might be fixed automation, mechanical devices that are doing things. And that's where it becomes a challenge because, you want to be careful in terms of how you implement a system like ours and a full robotic system. And my advice to those type of companies would be not necessarily take it slow, but take it cautiously and kind of think about how you want to implement it. In other words, start with something on a small scale, look at what your pain points are. Yeah. It might be throughput, it might be ergonomically difficult for humans, for instance, to move, or it might be heavy. Yeah. So those are all good candidates. It might be situations where you're getting a lot of human error in the process. Or maybe you have to train individuals where it's more complex. So that's where I would start. And then the second part of that is look at ROI. What's your time horizon for the ROI? A lot of conservative companies will say, if it's less than 24 months, that's a good return on investment. But you gotta also look at it as it's an investment to adapt new technology and look at how you're going to grow in the future with this type of environment. So consider that.
When would a company call up Liberty Robotics and say, hey, come in and I want to have a conversation? Because, they have to have a certain idea of what they want to do. Like, what would be your advice to those organizations, those CEOs, those owners of manufacturing firms that are our audience? And they're all hearing this, by the way. They're feeling the pressure that they need to move, but they all have the same answer, which is, I don't know what to do. I don't even know the first call. Well, help me get them through steps 1 and 2 to get to the point where they can
call us direct. Typically, we're going to work through a systems integrator, and we have partners that we've developed and who understand our technology. What I would do is I would bring those potential customers to one of our systems integrators and talk to them about how they could implement it. And typically they've got experience of small scale to large scale.
What I hear you saying is, look, don't wait until you think you figured it out. Call us now. We'll be happy to come in and have that first discussion of, is this even feasible? Are you a good candidate for what we're talking about? That's fabulous, because a lot of them feel like, I just need someone to come in and advise me on what our potential is.
I think they see, if you look in social media or you go into a warehouse, especially some of these large organizations, and they're overwhelmed with the technology, and they go, well, we're so far away from being able to implement that, maybe it's, we need to stay away from it, and that's not the case. You can adapt small cells into a standard warehouse that has all manual labor. Yeah. You can start there, and then you can build upon that. And I think what's going to happen is, as your employees start to utilize that technology, the bell's going to go off, or the light's going to go off in their head, and they're going to say, you know what, I think we can take this and we can adapt it over here. Yeah. Or I think we can expand it, and here's some other areas that would be a great candidate for this type of application.
So finally, what I want to ask you is, what excites you most about the field you're in, the company you're in? Where are we going? I mean, people talk about, there's two bookends. There's fear and there's tremendous hope, right? I always fall on the side of hope, because technology has always proven that it's a help. It creates great wealth, and it creates great innovation. And for those of you paying attention, we have, as a country, adopted 100% of all the disruptive technologies, and we still have the lowest unemployment just about in the world, right? Because we're such great innovators and we sop up all that talent. Where do you think we're going? What are you excited about?
I'm really excited for the entire industry, whether it's in the automotive side, or like I mentioned, there's still a ton of runway there, or if it's in the warehousing side. You look at, we're developing new sensor technology all the time, and you look at different types of lighting. We've got some new techniques where we're taking technology that's used for totally different applications, and we're already researching how we can embed that into our product. And then you look at the NVIDIAs and the GPUs that are coming out, and the amount of thousands of parallel processing that's taken place in just milliseconds, and computing power, and all the different things that are all going to come together. There's been bumps and difficulties along the way, but I think that's all a good thing for us. We are always looking out about 2 years is where we're trying to develop. And I would say we have about 45% of our staff is dedicated on the R&D side. So we spend a lot of money on R&D for part of our operational costs, but it's imperative for us. And we're looking at taking this technology and adapting it, and we're getting calls. And the other key part of this thing is to develop close relationships with our partners. And we have some really good relationships right now, and they're helping us by understanding what the market needs and defining some of that technology so that we can drive that into our customers and provide what their needs are. So it's an exciting market, and I think you're going to see probably within the next 5 years, this is going to explode. You're seeing, smart factories. You're seeing, drones that are doing inventory management. You're seeing, humanoid type devices that are being used in this space. Like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time, but the traction is already there, and we've already proved out the capability of it, getting people to adapt it and get outside of their paradigm, which is just what they've always been doing. You get these people that are more innovative thinkers, that are willing to take a little bit of risk. It's going to pay off in the end for them.
Well, Bob, I want to thank you for joining me today. I learned a lot. I'm so excited about this convergence of technologies, because if anybody needs this technology, it's the small manufacturer.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So with that said, thank you.
I appreciate it.
So for everybody paying attention, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next video, but thanks for joining us.
Thank you.